Welcome to the Pet Services Business application. The screen you're viewing right now is the advanced calendar. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what this calendar can do. Basically what it does is it allows you to add appointments or schedule events. And if I go up here to the top of the screen, you can see that I'm looking currently at what is called the contacts calendar. And you can have contacts in there. Now normally the administrator, if you pick that, would show the administrator's level at the very top. What does that mean? There's multiple calendars in here. If I picked any one of these calendars, for example, and it does not have a check mark next to that calendar in the edit record, then for example, let's go to on-site services. You'll see that it has one for on-site services. And if I go ahead and actually click either here where the title is or on the green arrow, it's going to bring up a different screen, and you'll see that I have an on-site services calendar with a check mark in it. What that is telling you is that that calendar is included in this task on this title. Now in this case what that means is that I could type anything in here. For example, Mrs. Jones dog wash and shampoo, and then it'd be on this date at this with the end on this date and the time that it's going to occur. So I can just bring up the slider and put in the time, or I can bring in the slider and I can go ahead and put the date in. And this is for the iPad and iPhone. On the desktop application or the cloud application, these would be done by just directly using a drop-down calendar or typing in the time. Estimation of time that it's supposed to take, you could put in there 1 hour, half hour, whatever it is that you want. You can also add the information to other calendars. For example, if you actually are delivering something where you're taking something to somebody, you could do that. If there's a pickup where you're going to bring something in from a client, or you're going to do a rental of something like a bird cage is being rented or something like that, it could be a rental. If you're doing a reschedule where you're rescheduling somebody based on this particular event and you're now rescheduling, you could put it on the reschedule calendar, and you can also put it on the service calendar where you're doing a service for them. Now this could be mobile where you're going to a certain location and doing it, or it could be in a pet store or a location of your choice. Now when you create the record, what you're basically doing is creating a title. You're using one of the drop downs here, and you're using either schedule, reservation, service, or whatever, and delivery or whatever, pickup, rental, or whatever. Then you're giving it a priority, either routine, more important, and then high priority. In other words, if you're moving between the different priorities, this will actually show on the calendar. If you put a time in here, for example, if I just put in, I'll just put in 10:23 just for the heck of it. If I say insert it, it's going to insert it. And the time, I can go back to it. And now when I click off, it should put it in there. Of course, it will not do it when if you don't insert it and then say current time. Okay, now it's in there. 10:23 a.m. And you can also change it like you do any scroller to provide the time that you're actually going to want to put in there. Now this is for April 19th, which is already passed, so you'd have to change the date to the current date. And you can do that by go ahead and picking the current date. And the current date now is the 24th. And I'd say insert, current date. Date is in there, the 24th. This would need to be changed as well to the current date if it's the end of the process. Insert, current date. Okay, now you have it in there, and you have a start time and the end time. If you want to add an end time, you can go ahead and do that. You can estimate the hours as we said. And then you can also do a little thing over here which allows you to add a new thing of your choice. You can click it and add some kind of a priority or some kind of a message that you want to put in there. Booking pending, or edit your own value, and you can put a secondary thing over here by just typing it in with the keyboard. Down here at the bottom of the screen, this says equipment assignment, and what it actually is, this is the assignment portal, and what it's doing is it's talking to all the items that have been scheduled, and it's going to do them in reverse order with the newest one at the top and the oldest one at the bottom. Now I have some old stuff in here I just threw in as dates and stuff that was in there, and some times, and then I have a service drop down here where I can actually change the status. As I'm doing this, it's actually in the customer record for that particular item, and what it's doing is it's changing for that particular thing. There's also a to-do list which is rated on how you're doing this up here. This is the assignment of a task, And then there's a work log. If you're actually needing it, you can do a plus and add a work log and put the person who's going to be assigned to do that and how much time they actually spent. You would do a description and the date. In this particular case, I would pick a user. Let's go ahead and put something in there. In this case, I'm in the administrator record, and that's who it's putting in there. And then the time, and I could put a description in by tapping in and then putting that in there. Or you can remove it by just clicking this, and it'll remove it. You say, OK, confirmed, and it's gone. Same thing to do with the to-do record. This may be something that has a special or a number of special things that you have to do when you're scheduling it for this thing. It might say, groom the dog, bathe him, trim him, and stuff like that. And you can put notes in there, and you can put a description of what has to be done over here. So there's a lot of things you can do. Okay, so this is the edit record. If it's completed, the task has been completed, you can either complete it here on this checkbox, or I would not recommend deleting any. Delete is in there in case you have to delete something that was put in by error. But since this is historical information, it's not a good idea to delete records, because when you go back to the calendar and you delete them, that item would not be in the calendar any longer, and it's not what you want to do, is have it moving or missing from the calendar. So I changed it, and I changed it from the 19th to the 24th, and you'll note now that if I click on the 24th, which is the current date, I move the date from the 19th over to the 24th, and now it's showing in there. The information that is provided is the administrator did this and set it for the 24th at 10:23. There's no completed time. It's scheduled, and the test information is there. Now, if I go ahead and say complete, it's going to draw a line through the word completed. Now you can delete it from here, but like I said again, you shouldn't delete things that are in your schedules, because this is historical and trend information. And if you want to go back and look at a specific date and time when something was done, you have it in there, and all you have to do is figure out what date you want to go to, showing it on the calendar, and then go review that information for that particular event or that time. Or you can look at it on a week basis and show the task that's being done and the schedule. If you want to add a date or something to it, you can add it by clicking here, or you can view the date, which is ever appropriate. If I click on the 25th, it's going to change to the 25th and allow you to go there. If I look at the month, you can see the month items, all the month items that are scheduled, and you'll see that there's the one we created. Or you can just click on whatever date you want to either add something on that record or add a new record in that date. The year is a little more complex because it has all the year from all the things that are happening currently. And then there's a list of all the tasks that have been added. In this case, there's only one record in the database right now for April 24th, 2016. It's called test. And if I want to go view that, I can go ahead and click here to view that particular record. And then when I get done with it, I can go ahead and close it and come back out, go back to the daily or whatever I want to. I can also do a search. If I put in a search word for the current records that are in here, say there's a lot of them in here and I want to see just one, I can go ahead and type in some text that's related to that appointment item and then click on the search, and it would find that particular record. Now let's go back up to administrator to recover the information and pick in the date. If I click on the date record, it should bring up the information for that record date, so you can see how you maneuver. Now, if this date had passed and I had not completed that appointment, it'll move it over to expired appointments, and that gives you an action thing on all the dates for anything that's expired. It will allow you to edit that record and either reschedule it if it was missed or for some reason not re-entered for a new schedule. It will always give those until you modify it by changing the date, as you saw me do before. And then it would update it and put it into the calendars that you have currently checked. And obviously, in this case, it would mean the administrator, the contact, and the on-site services appointment. If I took that out, it would remove it, and it would no longer be in the on-site services. And I can close here, and you can see I edited it and updated. And now if I go to on-site services, it'll no longer be listed. And there it goes away. Pretty easy. Let's go back and go back to administrator. Now, if you have more questions about how to use this particular calendar, what you can do is you can go ahead and go to the question mark up here, and this will go online, and there is a calendar thing you can go through, and it'll teach you how to use the calendar more or less like I just did. But of the information that's being used in the calendar, I don't recommend that you do any of the things that are included other than the ones I'm showing you, because that is information that is not required for you to use as far as the calendar is concerned. It's just things that are in excess of what you're going to have to use it for. So let's say done here. Move back to the calendar. For example, you don't have to change the profile, the preferences, or re-log in. Right now it shows the current user. If you do create logins and passwords, I recommend that you use the re-login to move between the different calendars, because once you start using logins, those calendars are going to require you to log in. These are created for the cloud version and the desktop versions of this application. This is being shown on a demonstration level using Xcode, and I'm using the cursor so I can show this and teach you on the desktop. If you need more help and you need more services information as far as how to use this application, you can contact us through the developer's website. That will be included on the drop down in the next screen when you go to the customer booking. And any of the subsequent screens after that, you can go ahead and click on it. And what it's going to do is it's going to have a do action button, which allows you to go and navigate to the developer's support website. So if you have any more questions, you can go ahead and contact us, and we'll cover those information things that you need. In the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the app navigation and how to navigate the application and find the different screens that you're looking for and how to use those. Thank you.